IDW Ninja Turtles is just amazing. And the cool thing is this run, the Turtles are dressing up as Bat Family. So Raph looks like Red Hood. Donatello kind of has like a Batgirl vibe with the purple and stuff. And
Is Leonardo Nightwing?
Yes. They just look super fucking cool, man. Because Leonardo has the blue bird across his chest. It just looks so fucking fun.
Sounds ridiculous to
me. It sounds insanely ridiculous, but it looks so good.
Stupid. And this is
it's so good.
This is before or after Bebop and Rocksteady brutally kill Raphael.
Donatello.
Donatello. Like break his shell.
Donatello
and, like,
dies.
Squish him.
Jesus.
Literally, Donatello dies in this comic book.
That's intense.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Never knew Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles could be so intense.
This is Twin Stick Radio, episode 67 for the week of May 2nd, 2019. I'm one of your hosts, Trey Higgins. I'm joined by Chris Rodriguez.
Hello.
And Justin T. Lopez.
Hello.
I want to keep talking about comic books for a second.
I was like, you're speeding through this right now. What's going on?
Yeah, no, I'm really
he's excited for that Sonic trailer, man.
Gotta go fast.
My number one suggestion for anyone that wants to get into comics, and this worked with Whitney, although Whitney claims that someone else had told her this, but I harped on her for years to read Saga. Saga is fucking incredible. Anyone who's I'm not really into comics, they should start with Saga because it's just universally good, but it also if you get so into it that it kind of teaches you how to read comics, and then it's so much easier to jump into other stuff. Saga is my favorite thing of all time.
Mm-mm. This is not my comic book.
So good.
Not for you?
I do not like that comic book at all.
So good.
It's just it's not comic book enough for me. I need heroes and capes and tights.
But it's like a gateway comic book drug.
So the basic,
it's like an easy entry point.
No, it's not an easy entry point. I just think it appeals. Yes, it is an easy entry.
It's really easy.
But it appeals to so many people that wouldn't be fans of comics because it is it's so rooted in this weird fantasy world that it's easy for Harry Potter fans or fans of teen young adult novels.
But it also has that high fantasy,
very much
sci-fi.
Yeah.
The basic premise is that there are these there's this planet and this moon, and the two have been at war for forever. But they don't want to fight each on the moon or on the planet anymore because they're fucking everything up. Mm-hmm. So they basically hire the entire galaxy to choose a side, and all the wars that should be happening between this planet and this moon are happening on every other planet in the galaxy. But it, like I said, it has this fantasy element. So it has sort of the people with goat people with horns and fairy looking people, and one character from one side and one character from another side fall in love and have a child, and they're basically trying to keep this child alive in this war torn universe.
And that's the most appealing part is it's more of the human element than it is.
Yeah,
there's this huge crazy thing happening, which in comic books that's normal, but it's so much more focused on the human element than it is the greater thing at large, right? And I think that's the entry point for most people. It's great because I can't tell you you should read Spider-Man. Oh, well, where the hell do I start? Right? It's
go back to the beginning of
go
600 issue run.
You can't, and that's the thing about comics. It's I love the world-shattering events, but that's not Saga. Saga is very much about the two, Marco and what's the girl's name?
Alana.
It's about them, their relationship, the relationships they create in their small circle of friends,
the relationships they destroy,
and the kid, and that's very much what that's.
It sounds very teen novel. And
that's not a jab, but I really think it is.
Yeah, I the one thing that throws me off of that is just that the way that.
However, it's extremely mature.
Yeah, that's
extremely
so mature.
I mean, we're talking about people getting their entrails ripped out. There's sex scenes. There's full-on nudity in the comic.
So edgy teen novel.
The young adult.
The initial villain of the book is this guy that has been in so many battles and has fought in this war so much that he's developed PTSD, but his PTSD sort of aligns itself with weird sexual imagery. Like at one point he gets knocked out on the battlefield, and this is gonna sound so stupid, but he has like he has a TV for a head. He's like some sort of robot. His name is like Lord Robot something the fourth. But he gets knocked out.
I was picturing like Cable, like a
Nope,
badass looking dude.
It's a dude with a cape and a TV on his head.
And he sort of has like this Victorian style, like noble, like outfit and a rapier. Well, at one point he gets his ass like kicked on a battlefield, and he's like laying there, and one of the soldiers comes to pick him up, and he's like all conked out, and literally on his TV screen is just like the fucking hardcore gay sex scene, just like in a panel of a comic.
Yep, it's weird,
All right.
man. It's interesting. It's weird, but it's not my thing. I need dudes in capes and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and things like that.
And
the
Bat
fact-
families.
And Bat families.
The fact that Chris doesn't like it means that you're almost guaranteed to love it.
Sure, yeah. I think if you can too, Fables is a really good.
Fables is just so old.
Sure, but it's still really good.
No, it's good.
Yeah,
it's just hard to read.
Yeah.
like the-
okay, yeah, I'll give you that.
Like
but
the guy that wrote Saga wrote Why the Last Man.
Yeah.
Great comic, but it's just really,
it's
really hard
tough,
to read.
sure. But Fables is one of those comics. It's like, what if Cinderella actually existed in our world? What would it look like? Well, she's a lawyer, or is that Snow White? I can't remember. Somebody, these people exist in our world, and they're like Snow White, or one of them's like a lawyer, and like the Wolfman is just a homeless dude who hangs out on the side of the road.
It's like a
just,
retelling.
Yeah,
of
it's
these-
really really good.
of classic Fables.
Once Upon a Time basically ripped it off.
Sure,
That's
yeah.
what it sounds like. Actually,
Yeah, and then the Wolf Among Us, that Telltale game,
Uh-huh.
is based off of the Fable books.
Like the main character of
yeah.
that story is the main character of the Fable comics. And he's also a great character.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Comic books.
Any interesting? We've been talking about comic books for a while, and Justin's just been shaking his head. Justin, do you have anything you want to share at the top of the podcast?
Yeah,
I'm listening.
Good.
This is
yeah,
great.
Yeah, good.
We don't. I mean, like Chris and I talk about comics
Sure,
with each
but
other.
we don't have Trey and I don't have an outlet to talk about comics to the
We
internet.
should start a pop culture podcast.
I was like, it's funny you had mentioned that. You guys are more than welcome to join. Which Rich and I have talked about, like having anyone on.
Yeah, well, I told Rich, I was like, hey man, because he was like, hey, do you want to be on this week? We're talking about Game of Thrones. I was like, I don't watch
Yeah.
Game of Thrones, so there's no reason.
Like, you're literally the last person I would ever ask.
Right, exactly. However, like when you guys talk about something like Star Wars, maybe that's when you bring Trey or I on for sure.
We'll kick Taylor and you off that episode. And it'll just be
Taylor
us.
knows Star Wars. He can be on there.
I need to
yeah.
switch out this mic stand. It's just not staying up.
Okay. And we're back.
Anyway, did you have any stories you want to tell at the top of the podcast, Justin?
I don't think so.
No.
Like what?
I don't know.
Saw
You
Avengers.
say that like you've
Saw-
never told like a fucked up story, like
That's true.
like witnessing a robbery or whatever.
Yeah, I don't have anything to top that for now. Saw Avengers twice. That was fun. But
I've
we're
seen it
not
like
gonna talk about
16 times.
that. Ooh, look at me. I work
No,
at
no,
a-
yeah, it's because I work there, not by choice.
I've seen it 0.
What do you think about Avengers?
I loved it.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil anything, but I loved it.
Okay, look. As
I'm pretty sure the entire world has seen.
Did
the
you see it,
Avengers.
okay, cool.
Oh man, if
Li-
everyone's
like,
seen it, then everyone's seen it.
Literally,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the entire world has seen this movie.
And
That's fair.
Chris doesn't care about
I
spoilers.
literally couldn't care less.
So
Does not ruin a movie for me in any way, shape, or form.
Okay.
So I love it. I think it's great. I think it's that last hour of the movie, after the Thanos gets back into the regular timeline. That is my favorite just Marvel movie.
I will say that I think that last hour of the movie makes everyone forgive the not good parts in the middle of the movie.
Yes, because I think like first 15 minutes of that movie are like what the fuck, and when it goes,
They were crazy. That was
yeah,
awesome.
I was like, I was not, because like I said last week, I had only seen 2 trailers. I knew
Same.
basically nothing of it. I didn't know any of the fan theories.
Mm-hmm.
I was completely like, so it starts off, they kill Thanos in like the first 15 minutes. They can't solve anything, and then it's like 5 years later. And I was like, what the fuck? And that was instantly like my brain clicked, and I was like, all the complaints I had about Ronan don't matter. Like this, of course, this is what Hawkeye would become, because in my mind, Hawkeye gets his family snapped, and like 2 minutes later, he's Ronan.
oh, okay, gotcha.
And it's like, oh, that's so stupid.
Yeah.
But anyway, like I think that Infinity War as a movie is better than Endgame. I like the pacing. I like the tone a little bit more. I like that it's not so funny. But also, like I said, that last hour beats any Marvel movie to me.
Yeah, I think the last hour of the movie just makes everyone kind of forget all their complaints about the middle half of the movie. Like, there's a lot of time travel hijinks that happens. I'm just like,
that's the part where I run into where I have problems with it.
yeah.
Is how they handle time travel, because it's a fantasy movie. They can handle time travel however they want, but from my understanding of the time travel, everything they did would not have worked. If you take time travel as an actual theoretical quantum theory, their time travel, their reasoning doesn't work.
The only thing
that bothers the crap out of me.
The catch-all, like, because I saw it again yesterday, the catch-all sentence that I guess kind of makes everything work in their universe is Hulk says at one point, no matter what you do, you can't change the future. So, because he was like, it would make no sense that if you go back in time and kill yourself, you wouldn't then be alive in the future to have gone back in time in the first place, so none of it would have happened. So that's kind of his like catch-all thing of like, even though they're messing with things in the past,
that's under the assumption that you're in the same timeline.
Correct. Yeah, and they talk about having verging timelines.
Sure, but that's the thing is like literally, according to actual scientific theory, anytime you jump, it creates a separate timeline.
Right.
So each one of them jumping 6 times to go grab the Infinity Stones created 6 different timelines. And then their idea of going back to that same timeline and you can't go back to the same timeline. That's almost physically impossible.
Yeah,
that's why you would create another timeline. So essentially they duplicated the Infinity Stones 12 different times.
Right.
If
it goes by that, yeah.
Again, it's a movie. It doesn't matter whatsoever.
Sounds
super fucking cool.
In universe, they just talk about like it is one continuous timeline until one of the stones is taken out. As soon as the stones are separated, that's whenever it starts creating divergent timelines.
Well, but that's the thing is that like when the Bruce Banner Hulk is talking
Dr.
to
Hulk?
the Sorcerer Supreme chick. I forgot her name. Before Doctor Strange.
Kate Blanchett bald.
There you go. Bald Kate Blanchett. Yeah. They basically say like, in order to only create one split in the timeline, they return the stones basically at the moment that they're taken. Which is I think the worst part about
would not work.
The worst part of the thing about the time travel theory in this thing is that they don't like properly explain it. They just kind of throw out big phrases or like confusing phrases. Because like in that scene where they're like, "Oh, you can't change the past becomes your future." It's like, okay, but what the fuck does that mean?
Which again, it's a fantasy movie based in a fantasy universe, so it worked, right? The way they described it worked, and it's fine.
Yeah,
I haven't seen this movie, by the way.
Yeah. All that being said, it was a fantastic movie. I loved it.
Yep. And
that was my week.
Yeah, it was my week too.
Did you make good money?
No, I didn't. So Friday I made all right money. Saturday I had to go to San Antonio to work private events at our San Antonio venues. So I was gone from 8 a.m. and I didn't get home until about 3 a.m. Because I was in San Antonio all day. I didn't fall asleep until about 5 a.m. My shift on Sunday was at 9 a.m. Completely slept through my shift.
Oh, no.
Woke up at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, 30 minutes before it was supposed to end. I'm sorry. No, I woke up. I can't remember when I woke up. I think I woke up at like 9 or something like that.
Holy crap.
So anyway, I completely slept through my shift.
Did they call you?
Well, that's when you should text me and be like, "Hey, make sure I wake up in the morning."
Well, the problem was that I got home, and by the time that I was like ready to fall asleep,
awake.
by the time I was ready to fall asleep, I forgot to set an alarm and I forgot to plug in my phone. So they did call me, but my phone was dead.
Oh. Damn, and Trey doesn't have a job.
Yeah.
No?
So long story short, I didn't make money because I don't have a job.
I'll say something after the podcast. I don't want to say this on the podcast. Anyway, we are a podcast about video games. We record weekly, and we're usually up by Sunday now. We should be up on Sunday, and then hopefully, if everything goes right with editing on the other podcast, that should be up on Thursdays.
And you can watch it live on Twitch.
Yeah. And the main reason why we're doing it that way is just so that we can split up the release dates so you don't have something hitting on Thursday and then something hitting on Friday.
Do you have a consistent time for Twitch yet? Is it Tuesday at 10 o'clock?
Sure.
Is that going to be consistent? Because that's pretty late for a comic book or for a geek podcast.
We'll see.
Okay.
I think it's going to be earlier.
Okay.
Maybe in a couple weeks.
Okay. Yep. Yeah. Right now it's tentative anywhere between 8 and 10 Central Time.
Just follow us on Twitter. And you'll see it.
That'll work.
But yeah. Just subscribe to the podcast feed. Shit'll hit the feed, and you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to go and
unless you really want to watch it live.
Yeah. And we start the show with the same segment every single week. Let's talk about the news.
News.
First up, Epic Games has acquired Rocket League developer Psyonix. The developer announced this via their blog and said, quote, Rocket League has always been and always will be a community-driven game. And now that we have joined forces with Epic, we will be able to serve our community in even bigger and better ways. End quote.
Join forces.
Psyonix goes on to say that this change will be great for players because it gives the studio access to a much deeper well of resources. The studio also claims that nothing about how they operate the game will be changing. Shortly after the announcement, The Verge reported that once Rocket League hits the Epic Store later this year, the game will be removed from Steam. Neither Epic or Psyonix has commented on this story.
I did see that Psyonix said...
Except to say, like, we don't comment on speculation.
We don't comment on speculation. As of right now, it is still on the Steam store.
So they haven't commented on the story.
Yeah. Man, the much like any Reddit, the Rocket League Reddit was on fire when this happened.
They all already own the game, which means they already have it on Steam. Why is this a problem?
I can't tell you how many people I saw
If it's
literally posting like, I have put in 5,000 hours in Rocket League. Not an exaggeration. And now I feel like it was all wasted.
If it's removed
yeah,
from
buddy, it
Steam,
was
does it
already
get
wasted.
removed from your Steam library?
No, it's still in your
Oh,
library.
okay.
People are just worried about like DLCs or future releases. Like, are they still going to be able to have
no, they're
access
going
to
to sell
those
them
things?
through the game.
Yeah, I know. I mean, they're still going to have it.
I'm not mad at you. I'm mad at the community, Justin.
I was going to say, I don't think we have to. I think our infrastructure is way better that we don't have to like sell DLC through a store. You can just do it in game now, right?
Yeah.
I think we're there.
Hopefully, yeah. I mean,
And
I would
now they're-
imagine.
Yeah, now they're just called microtransactions, which is.
But
yeah.
also,
Yeah.
I mean, it's just it's all dumb. It just makes me mad. I'm so sick of this Epic Store argument. I'm just sick of it because it's like we're all here primarily console gamers. We've been dealing with this shit for forever. We've had to deal with exclusives. We've had to deal with like weird stores getting different benefits that we don't get. It's just been a thing that we constantly deal with, and we're fine with it, and we've moved on. With a PC gamer, you don't even have to have a separate system to have access to these games. You just have to download another launcher.
Right.
It's stupid. Like, you can still play it on your computer. No one is taking away your ability to access Epic
Hey,
Store
man,
You don't even have
exclusives.
to put in a disc anymore.
Hey man, you can rationalize all you want, but man, I'm gonna be pissed about shit all the time. I'm the internet.
just
This is what
dumb.
I fucking do, man. Aliens being pissed. It's what I do.
And also, this happened weeks ago, but there was a story about how Epic Games might be stealing your system's information. Motherfucker, Civilization 6's new expansion does the same exact thing, and no one's bitching about that. Like, you literally are playing games that you buy through Steam that are stealing your information on your system, and that's fine, but Epic does. And I'm not saying it's good. No one should be doing it at all. But let's fucking throw oranges at everybody instead of just choosing Epic. I don't know why I said oranges.
Let's not complain about shit that you have no control over.
Right. Like if you're on the internet, like sorry, buddy, your information's out there. Like
Fucking A.
doesn't
man.
matter what game you're playing.
Yeah. Makes me so fucking mad.
Yeah, people were
I'm just
livid.
tired. I'm honestly tired of the complaining.
No, me too.
Like just fed up with it.
There were a couple voices of reason on Reddit, and it's always nice to see those where people are like,
Yeah, but
well, Psyonix is never getting any more of my money anymore. I refuse to buy the boxes and the keys. And, a couple people were like, okay,
It's
well,
like-
I mean, that's great, but
it's
you're
like-
not changing anything.
You already
I-
bought
I-
the game.
I think we'll talk about Borderlands later, but like people are refusing to buy Borderlands because Randy Pitchford accidentally misspoke in his stream. It's like, this is the last straw for Borderlands 3. It's like,
What did he misspeak about?
About the no microtransactions.
Oh.
But there's still like there's no microtransactions in Borderlands 3, but they're selling skins and DLC and stuff like that. That I don't whatever. I have a theory about it.
Well, like, he said that, and Chris was like, wait, didn't they sell skin packs? I was like, that was DLC, Chris.
Sure, but that's the thing is it's different. Like DLC packs are things I have to go to the PlayStation Store to buy separately, which is how you do it in Borderlands 2.
Yeah.
In Borderlands 2, I've got to exit the game, go to the PlayStation Store, buy what I want to buy, and then download it into my
Right.
game.
You're essentially buying something from a literal store.
That is, technically that is DLC, that is downloadable content. A microtransaction is a in-game store where I spend real money.
and
It's
you're
not
paying you're paying to just unlock something.
yeah,
it's already
not,
in the game.
Exactly. It's not clear how Borderlands 3 is going to work, but people are already like, this is the last straw. It's like,
But also,
whatever.
like, all these
Good
people,
Lord.
yeah, all these people love Borderlands 2, but no one had a problem with it.
I know, it's
because
just
the
fucking-
majority of people that played Borderlands 2 bought it after there was some collection where
Sure,
you didn't have
yeah.
to buy the individual head packs.
And instead of celebrating the fact that we're about to get a game where loot boxes don't exist and you don't like there's there's not. It's just cosmetic shit. We're about to get this game that it's rare, maybe not so much anymore, but in the last 2 years, a game with no, content locked behind money is rare.
I would say that's rare.
Sure, yeah. But like, we're about to get this thing, and just like, you're worried about skins.
No, they're just mad because it's on the Epic Store. So like, let's keep throwing fucking shade.
Hey man, man, my skin is supposed to be free, man.
Twitter user Yanolin Gaming.
What a dumb name.
Oh, I think it's Japanese. I can't say it. Reportedly reportedly attended a Kingdom Hearts concert in Tokyo and claimed that the Kingdom Hearts franchise director confirmed a bit of paid and free DLC on the way. The paid DLC is known as Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind, big R, little e, mind all big. According to Yanolin, the paid aspect will include an additional scenario known as Remind, as well as a, quote, limited episode plus boss, end quote. A new secret episode plus a boss and an English voiceover option for the Japanese version of the game.
Why do they do that? There was so like in the 12 years between Kingdom Hearts 2 and 3, they did another concert somewhere, and they ended up showing a cutscene at the concert that had never been seen before. So only the people at the concert got this canonical scene, and like then you just have to read about it until they released it like online 2 or 3 years later. Like, why do they do that?
I think it's a Japanese thing, because also like at a Legend of Zelda concert in Tokyo, one of the big guys of the Zelda franchise came on stage and said something about Skyward Sword being ported to Switch, and they still haven't made an official announcement about it.
But he said it at a concert.
But he said it at a Legend of Zelda
so
concert.
Fucking dumb.
That's strange.
It's Japanese. It's just weird, man. I don't get it.
They get excited.
Hey, man.
They're at this concert. They're feeling it. They're like, you know what?
I wonder what Japanese Reddit looks like. Do you think they complain about shit all the time?
I would imagine not. I don't. It's gonna sound really shitty, but I think that like
Americans suck.
Mostly America, but just Western culture in general is we're sort of bred with entitlement.
Sure, 100%.
Like, we're the same people, and also I'm one of these people. We're the same people that bitch about having to work and like being at work, right? Like,
I had this conversation with our bass player, Chris Santos, and it's like, hey man, do you? And I'll make this as quick as possible. I asked him, I was like, hey, do you think your kids are privileged? And he goes, maybe. And I was like, I told him, I was like, this isn't a jab at you or Courtney at all, but I think they are, and it's not your fault. I think it's the fact that the iPads and the phones and it's one of those things that's like, these kids are being bred with the idea that anything they want is at the tip of their fingers at a moment's notice. Where when I was a kid, an example Santos uses, like you save cereal boxes and you mail them out, and it's 5, 6, 7, maybe 3 months before you get the thing that you wanted. And or you ordered something from the JCPenney's catalog and you waited 3 weeks for it to come in. And it's one of those things, is like, it taught you patience, but you're also working for everything. Where in the culture nowadays, people don't really need to work for anything.
Well,
know what I mean?
It's just a change in, like, I guess what we would consider privilege, because I mean, what we had whenever we were younger, or whenever you were younger, like,
sure, I think that's
would be privilege.
I think that's a better thing.
Yeah, would be privileged than to someone who is 50 years, older than you, back whenever they were.
Yeah, I guess, but like it's interesting. Maybe privilege is a bad word. I think entitled is a much better word.
But it's entitled sounds a lot ruder than privilege. Sure, like walking up to your friend and being like, "Are your kids entitled?"
Because man, Santos's kids are great. Man, they're fucking great kids.
Yeah.
But you still have that thing of like, if they want a sandwich, they just have to fucking do it, and it's at their doorstep within 5 minutes.
It just gets weird, too.
It
gets weird because I know parents who kind of have that same thought of like, oh, well, I don't want my kids to be too privileged, so they kind of wait to give their kid like a smartphone and stuff.
100%.
And what happens is it almost kind of sets them back, because now they don't have those things that everyone else has, and it's like they like, if they don't have access to the internet or a smartphone, now that kid is further behind than everyone else
to an extent,
but in some ways,
it's also bred into adults too. Like, I have my moments where I have like my bit of entitlement, like when I'm watching something on Netflix and it buffers for a second. I'm like, You know, when
I'm the same way.
When I drive to get a quick bite at McDonald's and there's more than 2 cars in the line, I'm like, oh,
God, you wouldn't have survived in the 90s.
No, but I did.
I remember
survive
trying to
it.
look at pictures of naked girls on the internet, and it was like.
But that's the thing, though, is
loading. You know what I mean? Like
I did survive it. Like
yeah,
I
sure.
was around during that time too, and I think that it's also something that like we all have sort of developed our own entitlement. It's gonna be weird to see how kids who, as soon as they were able to like think and have memories, recall having an iPad in their hands and having that much power at the tip of their fingertips. How is that going to affect their development? But it's scary to think about how, in spite of the fact that, I lived during a time before there, I still have some of these tendencies that have been brought up by having access to a smartphone.
Yeah, I think, but that's the thing is society develops around that, right? So now, there's 2 cars in line at McDonald's. Well, technically, I don't even have to wait. I can just order before I get there, walk in, grab it, and walk back out. You know what I mean?
I've done that at Chipotle before because I came in and there was a really long line.
Yeah, but it's Chipotle.
And I noticed that whenever someone puts it in an online order, they instantly make it.
Yeah.
So I went back out to my car, ordered online, waited 5 minutes, and walked in and picked up my fucking food.
Well, but that's what I mean.
I like how I like how you went back out to your car as if they were going to be like, "Hey, wait a second."
But it would be weird if I sat down at a table and then walked up and grabbed my food.
The
the highly paid employees at Chipotle are going to kick you out.
I do this all the time. If they're, I always go inside. I rarely go through a drive-through, but even when the drive-through is like super long, I'll take note of the last car in line. I will go inside, order when I want, come back out, and that last car is only maybe 4 slots up. It's like, if you just weren't lazy and went inside, you could have got this. Yeah. Anyway. Yep. But I think society develops around
Kingdom
that,
Hearts DLC.
I'm sure.
Knew this.
I'm sure we'll play it.
We talked about this.
No, we didn't.
There's not new.
We talked about how they're working on the DLC, but no one's ever.
But not like a
announced.
conference.
There's been free updates. Like they just put out New Game Plus. And
well, I remember us talking about rumors of DLC. Like
not rumors. They said they were working on it.
Yeah.
Pokemon Sword and Shield are being developed to emphasize the fun of playing Nintendo Switch in handheld mode. Revealed in a financial results briefing for the fiscal year ending March 2019, Nintendo says that last year's Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee were, quote, designed to highlight the fun of Nintendo Switch in TV mode by waving the controller at the TV screen to capture Pokemon, end quote. The report went on to clarify that Nintendo is designing games for both longtime fans and relative newcomers, saying, quote, we want these games to be played not only by longtime Pokemon fans, but also by consumers whose first encounter with the series was on a dedicated video game platform with Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Pokemon Let's Go Eevee, end quote.
I don't trust them.
I do.
What does that mean?
I don't want to walk around with a Switch having to do this.
Yeah.
Or like having to like
I don't
do
think.
this.
I mean,
I don't want to do that.
I don't think it'll be that, but I think it'll be. I think this will be kind of the start of bringing back the whole like street passes.
By this, I meant shaking, and by that, I mean turning like a steering wheel. I don't want to have to do that.
I'm not convinced that there won't be any like sort of motion stuff because even like the fucking 3DS Pokemon, which are the most handheld Pokemon ever, they still have like weird things with the mic and the touchscreen and the gyroscope.
Yeah, but that was shit you didn't have to do.
Well, I would imagine it'd be the same in this. Like, I don't think that there's any reason not to trust them because they've been developing Pokemon games for weird systems for a while. It also makes a lot of sense to be like, you have the Switch, right? Which, in based off of the Wii U's performance, it could have not done well. So if I were them, I totally would have been like, hey guys, take a team and have them work on a Pokemon game that people will buy because it's Pokemon, but also that like will get people into the idea of what the Switch is. Utilize the features and make this Pokemon game. And I guarantee you, Game Freak, who has sort of been very religious about like what a Pokemon game is, was like, cool, but we're still going to develop what we want to develop.
Maybe. I just don't want to like for the 3DS with the whole like you can speak to your Pokemon through the mic or like you could blow on them through the microphone. I never had to do any of that to still play the game.
And you probably still did and was like, hey, dumbass, I fucking hate you. And the Pikachu smiled. And
yeah,
like, yes.
no, I don't think I ever did. I legit don't think I ever took advantage of any of those mechanics. Or ever took my stylus out to rub my Pokemon in dirty places.
It's for a younger crowd.
Yeah, but my point being is like, with Sword and Shield, sure, put that stuff in there, but don't make me have to do it like you did in Let's Go because let's be honest, it's not fun trying to throw that Pokeball at the screen because it doesn't work half the time.
I'm just curious.
It was weird. Just don't make me have to do any of that
I know,
stuff.
but like I don't understand why. Like you said, you don't trust them. I don't understand why when Game Freak continues to show that like
because
they're not forcing fans to do that
because
stuff.
they reference Let's Go.
Well, of course they reference Let's Go because the people ask them like, is the next Pokemon game going to be like Let's Go?
It's because they reference Let's Go. Does it mean I'm not going to buy Pokemon Sword or Shield? Absolutely not. Does it mean I'm not going to put 250 hours into Pokemon? Absolutely not.
Right.
Just saying. I don't trust them like I don't trust anybody.
You're going to get the running shoes in the game, and it's going to be like, all right, take off running.
Yeah, and you have to like
You have to physically run in order for you to run.
Chris doesn't use the running shoes. He doesn't like new features.
Yeah, no, I use the running shoes.
He only walks.
He's a Pokemon purist.
Sony has announced that 96.8 million PlayStation 4 consoles have been sold worldwide. The figure comes as part of a lengthy end of financial year report that offers a variety of insights into the company's success over the past 12 months. In the 2018 fiscal year, Sony sold 17.8 million PS4 consoles, with 2.6 million of these sales occurring in the fourth quarter of the year between January and March 2019. Overall, this figure is down 1.2 million on the previous year, but comes in 0.03 million higher than Sony's original projections. Sony expects that this decline will continue into the next financial year with a forecast of 16 million expected sales, although the company expects that there will be an increase in game sales, which is what they reported last year in like May. So yeah.
I mean, it makes sense.
Almost 100 million PS4s out in the market.
That's crazy. Is that for like all different kinds of PS4s, or is it just like base model PS4?
No, that's all.
Yeah, they
includes
haven't broken
pros
up.
and special editions and everything.
Also, if they separated the Slim from the regular PS4, those numbers wouldn't look as good because they don't sell the regular PS4 anymore. So, anything, Chris?
Also, to be fair, I don't trust anything.
Like these numbers, doesn't trust it.
Yeah, not at all.
All right. From Games Radar, I basically just copy and pasted this because I was running out of time. In recent weeks, 3 key members of Anthem's lead development team have departed from work on the project, including executive producer Mike Dara, lead producer Michael Gamble, and lead producer director Jonathan Warner, with only the later intended to return to the game following a personal sabbatical. According to a recent tweet from Gamble, the reason for this behind-the-scenes reshuffle seems to be Dragon Age shaped. As BioWare places the majority of its focus on getting Dragon Age 4 out the door, that was directly copied, not a typo from me, following several reported reboots of the RPG sequel, when asked by a fan, about who the Anthem community should turn to for questions and queries, Gamble confirmed that the game's lead producer Ben Irving and head of live services Chad Robertson are now the ones spearheading the game's post-launch cycle and hopefully steering it into a brighter future than its rocky launch period. Yeah. So the reason why I included this is because the headline of the story was something regarding BioWare abandoning Anthem for Dragon Age 4.
Right. Sounds super scandalous.
Abandoning.
Okay. And I have I have an opinion that is in line with the fans that are freaking out about this, but also I don't really believe this. Mm-hmm. So my argument for why is that like Mass Effect Andromeda was a game that like they intended on supporting multiplayer for a really long time. They intended on making DLC to the point where they teased the DLC at the end of the game. And then they completely scrapped it like 3 months later. Right. And to the point where they took that DLC and made it into a book because they wanted to continue that story and not leave fans
I forgot
hanging.
that came out. I need to read that.
But with that, they did make it a point to, I guess, like advertise, like, hey, like we're not doing DLC for this.
Sure, but it wasn't immediate. It was a thing where like things slowed down for quite a while, and then they were like, hey, we're abandoning this. So I don't I don't think that it's not impossible for them to abandon Anthem. However, this is a game that EA spent a shit ton of money on. And I don't believe that EA is going to just let them kind of walk away from it within 3 months of launching. I think that this game's probably going to be supported for a while. Whether or not it ever gets to the place where fans want it to be is probably no, because fans have unrealistic expectations. Yeah. But and it might be abandoned a year from now. But I think that I don't think that this is a sign that they're just walking away from Inquisition or from Anthem. God.
Yeah, I think the biggest difference between like Mass Effect and this being like Anthem is a games of service, so it's not as easy to just like up and just leave and be like, okay, yeah, I guess we're not doing this anymore. You know, I don't think that their their lead producers and everybody getting shuffled around is a sign of like the end times for this game. That being said, I don't think Anthem is looking great. It doesn't bode well, but I mean, it makes sense that this is no longer their priority,
Yeah. Well, and I mean, they announced Dragon Age 4 in December of last year. And according to the second report from Kotaku about Dragon Age's development, sounds like they don't have much of a game. And so, like, if you're going to announce it, you probably need to upscale your development team.
Wouldn't be the first time that they announced something without having.
Well, they
it,
also announced
done.
it, canceled it, lost their lead writer, and now we're doing it again.
Right. It's not unlike BioWare now to announce a game before they even have a plan for what they're making.
This is typical BioWare, right? You see all these reshuffling. It's like, sure, I get taking producers from one game and putting it on another. Like, that just kind of makes sense. It's like, taking high-level execs from one thing to another.
Yeah, you let them get it off the ground once
sure,
it's going.
Yeah, 100%. But in this instance, it's like, it's a lack of management. Again, to me, that just shows a lack of management. You've got this games of service that you want to work, so why, management from a business perspective, all hands on deck, make it work. And once it works, then we'll start talking about everything else.
I think that's the thing. It's that they don't necessarily want it to work anymore. I think they know that they've pretty much.
They do. EA wants them to make it work. That's why they're still doing live streams every week. Yeah. That's why they're still, sort of putting out roadmaps. That's why the game is literally being updated every single week with whatever the hell they're updating it with. I agree with Trey. I think EA wants this thing to work because they sunk a shit ton of money into it.
Yeah, I'm sure they don't want it to just fail. Like, they're not going to give it up.
But you've got a dwindling player base, so much so that now matchmaking is being affected. I think somebody said they waited 30 minutes to be match made into a legendary contract.
That's someone who's not entitled, because I would have given up 3 minutes in.
Yeah, and that's the thing. When your player base has dwindled so much that a matchmaking, any sort of matchmaking, takes upwards of 30 minutes. You've got a real problem.
And that's 2 months after launch.
Right. Yeah. Well, you could even look at, like, some people are pointing out, like, Twitch numbers too. I mean, Twitch is just not a good. It's a dumb metric to measure the popularity of a game. That's true. But
Yes.
It's becoming increasingly popular to measure it that way. I just know that, what was it, last week or 2 weeks ago, whenever they released that new Stronghold, I think it was, or they released something somewhat big. And like Anthem view numbers on Twitch were
like 100.
100.
Yeah, like
120.
And that's where they stay right now. They're about 100.
Yeah, exactly. So it just shows that, like, even the work that they're putting in, like, at least on Twitch number wise, is not bolstering anything.
Why do you think Twitch is a bad metric to measure the popularity of a game?
Because I didn't say popularity. I said number wise.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Sure.
Why?
Sure. Just because I just don't think.
Isn't popularity also related to how many people are playing your game? If a game's not popular, people aren't playing it. If a game is popular, people
because
are
you got a game like Guild Wars that consistently has over, I'd say, like probably 500,000 players every month, and it is at the bottom of the charts on Twitch.
Okay. Anyway, break down your reasoning.
Well, that's literally my reasoning.
That's your reasoning?
It is because you've got plenty of games that have a thriving player base. That are on the bottom of the charts on Twitch.
I think the striking thing about, I guess, specifically with Anthem is, like, it's so new.
I think when it comes to, like, the most popular games, I think you could probably do that, but I don't believe that, like, I don't believe that Twitch is a good, solid way to measure numbers in a video game. Yeah. Personally.
Why is fucking...
Because, like, right now,
it just depends on the game.
Like, right now, I could probably guess the most popular games on Twitch right now. I would say probably Apex Legends, Fortnite, maybe. No, I wouldn't even say Destiny. Yeah, League, Dota. No, not Dota. Dota doesn't even exist anymore, does it?
Dota, yeah, it does.
Okay.
Yeah, Dota's around.
Maybe Dota. But I don't think that's I just don't think it's a good metric for measuring numbers.
Yeah.
Maybe, sure, popularity, sure. Like, I totally get that. I totally understand using Twitch to measure popularity of a game. But just because I'm not watching a Twitch channel doesn't mean I'm not playing the game, right? I'm not watching Anthem channels on Twitch, but I'm playing it, right? I'm not watching Fallout 76 things on Twitch, but I'm playing it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Division. I'm not watching Division channels, but I'm playing it. I just don't think it's a good way to measure numbers. Popularity, sure, 100%. I think that's a great way to measure what games are popular right now. But just not. I don't think it's a good metric for numbers.
I guess it's like so I'm looking at the MMORPG category of Twitch right now, and World of Warcraft has 38,000 viewers. 6:00 at night, so it's a pretty popular time, right?
Sure, yeah.
Elder Scrolls Online has about 5,000. Old school RuneScape has 10,000. And then you go down to Guild Wars 2, which has 899, right? Mm-hmm. Now, 899 people does not reflect the 500,000 people.
Sure.
But I also don't think that 38,000 represents the 1 million players or more that are playing World of Warcraft, right? So, but proportionately, I think that those, 38,000 people watching compared to the millions of people playing World of Warcraft, and then the 900 people that are watching Guild Wars 2 compared to the 500,000 that play every month, those seem pretty proportional to the amount of players that are on there.
Yeah, I just don't see that. I don't see it at all. Personally, I like I said, popularity. I totally agree with you guys. I just I don't think Twitch is a good way to measure metrics of a game.
It's definitely different. I think now we're getting into. I think we have been, but even now more so. We're getting into the realm of watching games being even more of a recognized as an entertainment industry. So I think that's why we're going to see more of those numbers thrown around too.
Sure. If you were trying to measure if you're trying to use an external thing to measure metrics, I would say maybe Reddit, just to see how many subscribers are subscribing to something.
I don't know. I
maybe, but again, it's the same. It's kind of the same.
I think I agree with the sentiment that it's not an exact science, right? Because you're right. If you look at 900 viewers, in spite of the fact that, again, I think it's proportional to World of Warcraft and the amount of people that play that game.
Possibly.
I think that the viewers are proportional to the amount of people that are playing. But again, it's not an exact science because you see 900 and you automatically think, oh, Guild Wars isn't popular.
Sure.
Which is not the case. 500,000 people is a
lot of fucking
for
people,
an older RPG.
Older, sure.
But I also think that, as far as external measures at that, I think Twitch is probably the best because it's the one that people use the most.
Sure. I think if you're coming at it from an outset and it's what do I want to play? I want to play an MMORPG. What do I want to play? Go to Twitch and you could probably see the most thriving numbers in a game and base your ESO. I don't like WoW, but ESO is number 2. So I can go play ESO and pretty much be guaranteed that I'm always going to have somebody to play with. Does that make sense?
But to your point, though, I also think that it also depends on what kind of game you're playing, right?
Sure,
I don't think that
some games aren't fun to watch.
Yeah, I don't think watching someone play Guild Wars 2 is as fun as watching someone play Apex or Fortnite or Dota.
Or I think a really good example is Division 2. I think watching Division 2 is boring as fuck, but playing Division 2 is one of the best things in the world. That's why you only see maybe 2,000 people. Actually, I can follow Division 2. How many people are playing Division right now?
I mean, and it's the same with Destiny. I don't like watching people. I'll watch people raid, but most of my Destiny watching time is competitive because it's more fun to watch.
Yeah, Division right now only has 1.8 thousand people watching Division streams.
Yeah, and this is at 6:30.
Yeah, 6:30 at night. But that doesn't compared to Destiny. 6.3 thousand people are watching Destiny streams.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Destiny's fun to watch. So it makes sense why there's 6,000 people watching Destiny streams. But Division is not fun to watch. But in my personal opinion and other people's opinion, Division's a better game and more fun to play than Destiny is. But it doesn't reflect that here. I would assume Division, as of right now, might have more players than Destiny on a daily basis. Yeah. I have no idea. Maybe. But that doesn't reflect right there at all.
Yeah.
You would think Destiny actually has more players, but they don't. I don't think they do, at least. Like you said, it's not an exact science. There's no way. But I agree. You can totally tell which games are popular and player based by numbers on Twitch. I think. But
we agree. We just also disagree.
Yeah, I don't think it's a good way to measure metrics of a game basing it off Twitch.
I feel like that can sum up most of the podcast.
Yeah,
usually,
for real.
it's we agree. But we also disagree.
There's
I don't like you telling me true things. Last up, this is from Polygon. The first trailer for the live-action Sonic the Hedgehog gave us a clear look at the Hedgehog in motion, but now it seems that what we've seen won't be what's in the final cut. In a tweet on Thursday afternoon, director Jeff Fowler said that Sega and Paramount Pictures would rework the Hedgehog after the outcry of his appearance, as well as numerous fan edits on social media.
I didn't see this. I didn't know
this popped up as I was driving over here.
Who fucking cares, man?
Did you see it?
Yeah, it looks fine. It looks like fucking real life Sonic.
No,
I mean,
man,
like-
it looks pretty ugly.
No, it does. It looks like a fucking furry blue hedgehog.
I didn't like the trailer. I didn't have so much of a strong opinion that I was like, they need to change it. I do think it's cool though that like they can take feedback and be like, hey, we'll rework this movie. I think that's neat.
Though?
I think it shows
That just gives the internet more power to complain about shit.
I mean, sure, but I think it also shows that they, and maybe this is my like hopeful thinking, I think that it shows that they actually somewhat care about this to where they think that it could succeed if people actually see it. You know, I think that
It
shows.
doesn't. Yeah, I mean, they obviously don't think it's trash, right?
Right. If they didn't care about this movie, like, which plenty of people make movies that afterwards they're like, that was fucking trash, but here you go, maybe we'll break even. If they're going to go back and rework CGI and possibly change a lot of what he looks like,
Well, and
maybe it's going to be okay.
there's also like really two big components to this. I think component number one is, which is the lesser of the two, is that Sega recently announced that they're trying to completely focus on existing franchises. So they probably don't want Sonic, which is one of their existing franchises, to be even more shut on than it already is. I think the second reason, which is a more important reason, is that Pokemon Detective Pikachu, it's not Pokemon, it's just Detective Pikachu. Detective Pikachu is working. By all fucking metrics of what people like in the universe, Detective Pikachu should not work. But that first trailer came out and everyone loved it, and that movie's going to do so well. And so I think to them, they're like, well, if they can make Detective Pikachu work, then we need to make this work because it's sort of similar. Like the idea is kind of the same, except Pokemon's way more interesting and better than Sonic.
Yeah.
But like you even now, I look at some of the Pokemon, and I might be the only person that feels this way, but to me they're kind of creepy, and I love them. They're in the same way that I love the original Howard the Duck movie from like the 90s or early 2000. I fucking love Detective Pikachu.
Howard the Duck from 1988, like
80?
88, 89.
Oh, that's basically the 90s.
No, it's not. It's the 80s.
Oh, no.
That's basically the 90s. Anyways, I love that Howard the Duck because
1986.
okay, then that is not basically the 90s. From the 80s. But like Howard the Duck is kind of creepy and weird, and it's fun because of that.
He's goofy.
Taya Leone, is that who it is? No, it's not Taya Leone. Who's that? Who's in Howard the Duck?
I'll let you think on that for a second. But like
I was like, I have no idea.
But people legitimately are obsessed with Detective Pikachu and the way those Pokemon look. And I don't get it. To me, it's like a really funny joke. Everyone else thinks it's like the greatest thing in the world. And so why not try to make Sonic work in that same capacity?
Yeah.
Who played Marty McFly's mom in Back to the Future?
Dude, you're asking some obscure actor questions.
Obscure? It's Back to the Future.
His mom.
His mom is extremely prominent throughout the entire thing.
That was like a billion years ago.
Oh my god.
I haven't even like watched Back to the Future completely through.
Ooh, okay. See, I'm not on that level.
Ed Gale played Howard the Duck.
Oh, that's not what I asked.
What?
I was
What
asking
did you ask?
I was asking the girl in Howard the Duck.
Leah
That falls
Thompson?
in- Leah Thompson, thank you.
Sorry. I thought you were saying boy names at the beginning.
No.
And that was the mom in Back to the Future? Oh, okay.
She was like hot in the 80s.
Quick saves.
Probably not anymore.
I don't know.
Quick save so we have time to talk about Borderlands.
Leah Thompson?
Leia Thompson. Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, Koji Igarashi's spiritual successor to Castlevania that was kickstarted for $5 million, will be released on PS4, Xbox One, and PC on June 18th. The game also has a Switch release date set for June 25th. Blizzard will not be attending Gamescom 2019, quote, as part of a renewed effort this year to maintain our focus on development for our current games and our future projects. We won't have a booth at Gamescom 2019. It's important to note you can still buy Blizzard gear at Gamescom. And last up, I'm sure Chris is going to be obsessed with this story. Hideo Kojima has revealed some new details about Death Stranding at the Tribeca Film Festival in New York. He started off by describing the game's central theme is about connection. He says that real-world events influence this theme. He went on to discuss in vague detail how Death Stranding would offer a new idea. Quote, I also threw in a really new idea. You're connecting the game, and everyone is playing it together, and you'll be connected. Everyone will be connected together as well. I can't say anything because Sony will be very unhappy. I don't want to be disconnected from Sony, end quote. That was a real quote, by the way. I'm talking on stage.
Nothing to say about this man. I fucking hate it. She's actually pretty damn gorgeous for an older woman.
Yeah.
She kind of looks like Matt Mercer from this angle. I'm from the angle that I saw it. She kind of looked like Matt Mercer.
Matt Mercer, you heard it here. Pretty damn gorgeous for an old woman.
I mean, Matt Mercer's pretty damn gorgeous.
Yeah. Did you see the story? It's not on here. It's more of like a quick save.
that?
The whole thing about Nintendo pulling that game for having
I did, but the thing about it is, so the basic story is that this company uploaded a game, and one of the developers on the game snuck in basically a Ruby, which is a programming language, development kit in there.
Yeah.
Basically, you can plug in a USB keyboard and write programs on the Switch. And he went on Twitter and he was
kind of
like,
awesome.
yeah, I think it's pretty cool too. And his whole thing was like, I'm not doing this to break the Switch. I'm not doing this to like do anything illegal. I'm just doing this because I want kids to get into programming, and I want adults to remember like what it's like to print hello world on your fucking monitor. And so he went on Twitter and he was like, hey, tell everyone, spread this around, tell them how to get to it, blah, 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 blah. And then Nintendo took it down. And he went back on Twitter and was like, I apologize for causing any problems with Nintendo. I apologize for making this executive decision and not telling my team. We're trying to figure out how to get the game back up, blah, 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 blah. And the reason why I didn't put it on the news is because I didn't understand.
That's why I don't trust Nintendo.
It is.
I mean, I didn't understand why this, like, I don't understand why Nintendo took it down. I don't understand why this is a problem. And I also don't understand why this guy thought this was a good idea.
Right. It seemed like a really bad idea, but also I guess the reason why Nintendo took it down, at least what I was reading, I don't know all the things that Ruby can do, but initially in the article, the IGN article I was reading, it was talking about how like this could allow you to make apps.
The reason it got taken,
make apps for your Switch. Yes.
The reason
And like you can't just do that.
the reason it got taken down because it wasn't part of the certification. I mean,
Right.
that's
That's
an easy answer. It's like that was not certified by Nintendo.
Right.
So,
and I also don't think they would certify something that you can just make your own app.
They wouldn't. That's the thing is like, right. And that's what, people don't really realize is like certification for games is like in depth. Like these developers have to tell them everything that is in the game down to the code. And that was something he probably left out to sneak it in. And so once Nintendo found out that something's in the game that wasn't certified,
Right.
pull the plug.
And it was just interesting. It was just a really like, I don't know, it felt like it was kind of like a dumb move on him to just like be announcing this.
A very dumb move on
and like, telling people to like, please boost this like tweet basically. Like,
I'm going to kick out my soapbox for a second.
Go for it.
I think one of the biggest problems with the world right now is that we all have these devices that we use in multiple different forms, 1,000 different ways, and that we're on for 90% of the day. And I don't think that that's a problem, but I think the
30%
biggest
of the day.
I think the biggest problem is that we don't understand the technology behind this. And I think that, we're not teaching children who are going to grow up with this in a bigger capacity than we are, don't understand it either. And I think that like we have a moral obligation as a country to be teaching programming languages and be teaching people about computers in any capacity that we can. So I think that this guy's goal was noble. I think he's doing the right thing.
Sure.
Your computer
However-
science major is showing.
However, no, I mean, but that's just
No,
I know.
he's right, but that's never going to happen.
If people people are using Wi-Fi connected refrigerators right now that are stealing your data, and nobody knows that because they don't understand the technology they're using. And this isn't a computer science thing. This is just a privacy thing. We don't understand the things that we're using, so we don't know how to protect ourselves from companies stealing data and doing whatever the fuck they want with it. Not that they're necessarily doing nefarious things, but there are some things that I don't want companies to know about me. And so, but my thing is this isn't the way you go about it. Even though you have a noble goal and you're trying to do a good thing, you're lying to your development team. You're lying to the company that's publishing your game on their store. And if you want to take that idea and do something really good with it, go and write a game about fucking programming.
Right.
Write a game that's accessible for everyone.
Sure, but
make your goal teaching people. Shoving this in the back of a game and thinking that you're going to make a difference, you're not.
Yeah.
Well-
and you're potentially
well,
putting everyone's
it's-
like jobs at risk.
It's also a really dumb hill to die on because he's not going to make a difference. Because if that was the case, then everybody that is my age or older should know how to work a computer, but they don't. That's just the way it works. They just don't. They grew up with the computer making a the renaissance of computers, whatever you want to call it, right? My mom should know how a computer works down to the freaking motherboard, but she doesn't because it's something that the world has told her that you don't have to know why it works. It just works.
Well,
and that part of society is never going to change.
Well,
it's
and
just not.
You're right. I think that after a certain point, you kind of have to give up on older generations.
Well, even younger generations, like if I were to go ask Santos's kids, like, hey, you know what this is doing? He's like, no, it just works. Do you care? No, it just works.
Sure, but like the problem, I think the problem isn't that. I think the problem is that no one's found a really good way to present this information, right? And this guy obviously has ideas about how important this is and how much he wants this to be a thing. So why don't you take that idea and find a way to make it accessible? If there was something as popular as Fortnite that involved programming languages, your kids would learn to program. But
Sure.
But
you'll never see that.
but you'll never see it because no one wants to try to make it happen because it's failed in so many different capacities, right? Like it's really easy to make Fortnite because battle royales are the thing. Trying to take a new idea and make that popular and appeal to kids, it's not impossible. It's just people don't want to do it. So, my whole thing is like I agree with this guy's mission. I just think he's stupid about the way he went around it.
Right. Noble cause, bad execution.
Yeah.
Sure.
Borderlands 3. I was going to put a whole news thing in here, but also I was like, this will take hours to read. Chris and I watched it. Did you watch it, Justin?
I did. I caught most of it.
Got it.
The live stream, yeah.
So, Chris, what do you think?
Oh man, I'm pumped for this game. It looks great. Looks fucking awesome.
Yeah. As someone who only played... I played a bit of like Borderlands 1 whenever it first came out. I think that was one of the first games I ever got on GameFly. I don't think I ever owned it. I think it came in the mail.
Oh my God, we should kick you off this podcast just for using GameFly.
Oh, sorry.
I would like younger me would have been jealous that you could use. GameFly.
I thought it was the younger me thought it was the coolest thing ever.
Yeah,
I was
no,
like, I can just
I-
get games in the mail.
Yeah,
I
no,
wanted
yeah,
GameFly
no,
so
you're,
bad.
yeah, no, you're right. It was a damn good idea.
Right, especially for like a middle schooler. I was
Sure,
like,
it
this is awesome.
it was a great idea executed at the absolute wrong time.
Yeah, probably. Is
Right-
GameFly still a thing?
Yeah, I think you can still do it, but like with the
But
precipice.
who would?
Yeah, but with the precipice of streaming and Redbox, like why?
That's fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like as someone,
Back then, I think it was a good idea.
No, I agree. But
I think the
but
problem
you were-
is that
they were literally on the cusp of streaming, and that's where I say it's just a bad time.
no, GameFly was popular around the same time that mailing fucking DVDs in Netflix was popular.
Sure,
the
but
problem
again,
with GameFly
there's a
was
reason
that it
Netflix
didn't keep
rarely does that.
customers because they didn't have enough copies of new games to send out to the people that wanted it.
Sure.
That was the problem with GameFly. It wasn't that it was a service that wasn't needed. It was just that they couldn't provide the product.
I don't believe that. I think it was bad timing. There's a reason. I
a
understand.
they had a good couple
I understand
years.
Netflix. You can still get DVDs sent to you. There's certain things that don't even show up on streaming services that you can get sent to you. But like I think they did a study. The amount of people that actually do physical Netflix, I would love to know it. I would love to know that.
is that included? I wonder if that's included with your Netflix.
It's not.
subscription.
It's not. You have to pay extra for it.
it?
Yes. But I'm just saying, like that GameFly and to an extent, Redbox is pretty popular because you can get the newest movies that aren't showing up on Netflix and stuff like that. But like GameFly and the physical copy media mailed to your door, it was a great idea. It was just like the great idea came almost like like I said, at that precipice of streaming.
Well,
So-
GameFly started in 2002. So that
Sure.
was way before streaming, and it was during the same time that Netflix was building up their business with the mail DVDs.
okay, sure, whatever. I don't, whatever. I just think it was at a wrong time.
Yeah. They were doing good. There was just nowhere
'Cause
to
it
go.
could-
There
yeah,
was nowhere to go from there.
Because if it was such a great idea, then it would still really be thriving now, and it's not.
Anyways, so I played a little bit of Borderlands 1, never finished that, and then played Borderlands 2, didn't finish that one. But this third one looks really cool. Looks fun.
What?
That's what we were going around saying what we thought about the whole Borderlands 3 thing.
Yeah.
And I was saying, as someone who hasn't played, like,
You're gonna
Tiny
be
Tina's
so
all
fucking lost.
oh, I am hands down fully admitting that.
Yeah, so fucking lost.
Yeah.
Just play Borderlands 2.
Yeah, I have it.
Or just go to the wiki and read about it.
I don't know. I feel like if you were to read the
That
wiki
sounds
about
better.
that game, you'd be even more lost. I feel like
No.
it just wouldn't make sense.
No, you could
read things
you
that don't
could-
make
I think
sense.
you could narrow it down to maybe a paragraph or two and explain what's happening in the Borderlands.
I read
universe.
wikis of comic storylines sometimes,
I
and
don't know.
sometimes those don't make
It's just
sense.
like I played the mission this a couple days ago where
Are you in Borderlands 2?
Yeah, in Borderlands 2, where you have to stop the train that they think the key is on. So you go to Tiny Tina, and she has you basically build a missile out of stuffed animals.
Mm-hmm.
But like the mission objectives are they have like weird names like Miss Prissy Pants or whatever, but it's like go find Miss Prissy Pants and Irene's badonkadonks, and literally the mission objective is find badonkadonks. 0 out of 2.
Sure, yeah. But but that's not I'm talking about just go read the overarching story of Borderlands.
Yeah. Got it.
I don't mean like the that's what
I'm just saying that like just the language of the game.
Yeah. Whenever you actually set off the missiles and the train comes crashing down, she's all burn all the babies. I love Tiny Tina.
It seems like there's a very hard line on people that do or do not like Tiny Tina.
I think she's fucking great. I think she's one of the best freaking characters ever in Borderlands.
It's the same thing with Claptrap though, right? Like it was really awkward watching that stream when at the beginning where they're like following Claptrap around, because I'm like sitting at home laughing because I think Claptrap's funny.
I think he's funny.
But the crowd is just like dead silent.
Yeah.
And like Randy Pitchford is like giggling to himself on the stage, and it's like I don't understand why people don't.
Yeah,
I feel like they don't get Claptrap.
That's
why
probably
they don't
exactly
like
what, that's probably exactly what it is. I like when he was doing his little sneaking thing.
Yeah,
it's literally
so funny.
point A, point B, and he sneaks all the way over here to get to point B. It's like, what are you doing?
And then he unveils the chest by setting off the explosion.
Like I find him so much funnier than like a Cade 6.
Oh, 100%.
But everyone loves Cade 6.
Oh yeah, because it's not Nolan North, because it's fucking Nathan
Fillion.
Fillion. Yeah, that's the reason people love Cade 6. If it was anybody else, people would not love Cade 6. People would be on my side and understand that Cade 6 is literally just comic relief in a freaking serious world.
Hey, you're kind of right, because
sucks.
now it's Nolan North.
Oh, it is Nolan North. Yeah, I think it looks great. I think what they're doing with it's amazing. I think they're evolving their gun system. Is like, what do you do to evolve the gun system in Borderlands, where everything's random and there's no telling what you could get? Add alternate firing modes that change with the press of a button. Like, that's fucking awesome. Evolve the talent trees, like we were talking about. Amara has this ability where she like shoots out her projection, and you can change the element that projection shoots out, and it changes the thing. So like if it's radiation, you can see like the ground, it's like a trimmer all the way to the target. Or like lightning, it's like this ring of lightning that goes through everything. It just looks really fucking cool. I very, very excited to see how they've evolved Borderlands, because it seems really great. And I also know that I'm pretty sure Zane's gonna be my main.
I thought
not after seeing this. Zane has way too much cool crowd control stuff to not play him.
Before going into this, I was wanting to be Amara, and I was like happy to see like how cool like Amara actually was.
Her
really
stomp thing where she like hits the ground with all 9 hands or whatever that is looks so fucking cool.
That's pretty cool.
But no, I had the first thing I said to Trey after watching this is like, yeah, I don't think you're gonna like Zane. And
that's right, because you wanted to be Zane.
I mean, like
before we knew anything about them, based off of looks.
I was like torn between Flack and Zane, and then I saw some of Zane's stuff, and I also started playing the pre-sequel and Borderlands 2, and I realized that I'm just not a big fan of the pet characters. I don't like things doing the killing for me. And so Zane, I was like, oh, he sounds like he's going to be the sniper, but looking at the trees, he's not the sniper. So I'm thinking Flack might be the sniper, or they might fucking do the same thing they did with the pre-sequel and not launch the game with the sniper.
Sure.
In which case, like, I'll play Zane because he's the character I like the most out of them, but I'll be very unhappy because it's just like that's the way I like to play Borderlands.
I could see Flack being a sniper. Like if you're sending your beast,
that's
in,
what he said, too.
And you're doing some like cover fire.
Same.
Yeah,
that makes kind of the most sense.
Like I've looked at Zane's talent trees, and no matter what Trey does, I just don't think Zane is set up to be any kind of sniper. And I just don't. I at least from the outset, not playing the game, I just don't think there's any.
I think the shield kind of sets him up a little bit, but not in the same way that like Mordecai or Aurelia or Zero were set up.
And that's the thing is, that's why it's really hard for me to think that they're not going to launch with a sniper, because both 2 numbered Borderlands games did launch with a sniper.
Sniper characters are a big part of Borderlands.
I think it'll be Flack. I really do. I don't think it'll be the mech chick.
It can't be Moe's, and it's definitely not Amara. So it's like if you have a sniper, it has to be Flack.
And it makes sense. It makes sense. It sounds really cool. Maybe one of the pets you can get is one of the birds, and the birds marks targets for you. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like
that's a cool idea.
I think I really do think Flack is going to be your sniper.
Yeah.
Because Zane's weird. Zane has like Jack abilities, and he has like Roland ability. He's got like all these, and Wilhelm ability. He's got all these weird things where he's like a plethora of things, but they all work really well together in controlling the field. So like, I love that clone ability where you put the clone down, you can circle behind somebody, lure them to you, maybe set up a trap, and then just go straight back to your clone. Or, you know, being the support character where you throw up the shield. And you know, you have, it's almost like a Titan thing, where you have your shield and people are shooting through it. You're like that guy, right?
Yeah.
You set up the boss damage phase. So yeah.
I the most interesting thing about that presentation, aside from the fact that I just hate Randy Pitchford, I have nothing to complain about the game.
Yeah, no.
There's nothing that I saw that I was like, that sucks or that's not good. But I laughed every time it was supposed to make me laugh. I was like, that's really cool every time I was supposed to say that was really cool.
And it seems like overall like reception like seems like pretty positive. I mean, for the most part, right?
But Randy Pitchford lied about microtransactions. Justin.
True. Did y'all see the Uber Hella Mega Box, the $250
No, I didn't
special
see that.
edition? Oh.
Do you want to tell me what's in it?
I don't. There was a lot.
Oh, okay.
For $250, like it was. It seems like a good deal.
Yeah, it's about as much as it was in like the Fallout one.
Oh, okay.
Like there's a bunch of cool little minis that you can put in a diorama and stuff like that. It's
yeah,
cool.
there was like 10 figures, like 3 like taller figures, a flag. There's a whole thing. It was sounds cool.
Neat. Yeah, it does sound cool.
I don't have $250 to drop on it, but
It's available for pre-order. Game.
Oh, is it?
It's for right now. Yeah,
That's cool.
they added more.
Did you get it?
No, I don't. I think I want it, but I don't think I want it $250 bad. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Hopefully it'll be like the claptrap thing where that thing wasn't it like $300?
Yeah, it was for a while, and I got the Borderlands.
But then they had so many of them that they never sold.
Yeah,
and so
I ended up getting the Borderlands 2 special edition, like 2 or 3 years after the game launched for $70.
Yeah.
So
what a steal.
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm really excited for Borderlands 2. Borderlands 3. I think it looks fucking great. It's Borderlands. You know, as long as you stay true to the Borderlands formula, you can't fuck up. And I'm still talking about the pre-sequel as well. Just stay true to it, and you can't fuck it up. I played through the pre-sequel. It's my least favorite Borderlands, but they stayed true, and it didn't get fucked up.
Still a good game.
Still is a fine game. Yeah,
Borderlands
exactly.
2.
I'm interested to see one thing before I love that the main bad guys are annoying Twitch streamers.
Yeah.
I love that. I fucking love that they are just making fun of every single person they invited to that event. That's literally what they're doing.
I guess I didn't catch that, but yeah, I mean,
100%. That is what they are. She even in the end of the trailer, she's like, and like, share, and subscribe. Pow, pow, pow. Like it's like you're just making fun of everybody you invited to this thing. And it's amazing, and I love you for it.
There's also like that the first like kind of big villain you fight is basically a podcaster.
Yep. and then one of the guys with the sound, he's basically like an EDM dude.
Yeah.
And he's like throwing out stupid fucking like, oh yeah, I'm just what it's like you're just making
some humble brags.
You're just making fun of hipsters all over the world,
Well,
and it's fucking great.
That's one of the things. Like, there's obviously like a theme in the Borderlands games about sort of like corrupt capitalism, right?
Sure.
There's a reason why the main villains of the games have been Atlas, Dahl, and Hyperion. But aside from like the occasional side quest, Borderlands has never really gotten to like that GTA style, like sort of meta commentary on something. And they have a really good writing team. Like all of those games, even Borderlands 1 they're all well written.
I agree.
And so it's kind of cool to see them take like, take a political stance on something and sort of like satirize it, but also like have commentary on it. I think, as much as I don't like Randy Pitchford, he did say something on the stage like right before the claptrap thing where he's like, the thing that we go for with our writing is hilarity and sincerity. And he's right. Like, when Borderlands 2, 90% of that game, you're laughing. But when the bad things happen or when they want an emotional punch, it always hits you. Tiny Tina is this ridiculous character. From the moment you meet her, you either hate her or you're laughing at her. But when you do that quest and to lure the bandit back to her cage or her cave, and then she does the tea party thing where she's like torturing him, and you find out over the course of the conversation that he sold out her parents and her parents are dead because of this guy. Like, still 10 years later or 8 years later, I'm still like, man, that kind of sucks, and that's sad.
It's very,
and it makes me feel better towards Tiny Tina.
Well, I think the kind of playing into the hilarity and sincerity thing too. Like part of the writing or part of the genius of the writing is the comedy and all the funny elements work so well because the characters themselves aren't trying to be funny. Like that's just genuinely how they are.
The world.
And that's what makes it funny. It's funny to everyone else, but to them they're being so serious.
It's why
it's not like a Cade 6 where it's like, stop cracking jokes, you jokester, you.
Yeah. It's why playing Athena is so much fun in the pre-sequel because she's the one sane character in this insane world. And you just listen to her react to it like a normal person. She's not like
Well, she's the straight man that like the jokes bounce off of.
Yeah, she's not questioning the world, but someone walks up to her and says something ridiculous, and she responds like the person said something completely normal to her, and she's responding normally. It's like, I want to eat your face. It's like, oh, you can't do that, and then she kills him. You know, and it works. So
yeah, I just I love all of that, but I love the social commentary Borderlands can get across to gamers that sometimes I don't think they get because I don't think they've gotten that yet. I don't think they've gotten the fact that the big bad guys in Borderlands 3 are literally you. Hey, Twitch streamer, you're the big bad guy. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think they've gotten that yet. They're just like, Borderlands 3.
I don't think
this game speaks to you.
Yeah, here's a new skill tree, and here's this. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe.
I don't think they're ever going to get it.
They probably won't, but I think it's fucking hilarious that they're just... I don't think they get it.
I'm sure we'll get multiple big time streamers like dressing up as the twins on stream.
Sure, yeah.
It's kind of like the same thing with the with what's in GTA 5. Michael is not Michael. What's the older dude, the white dude?
Michael.
That's Michael.
That's Michael?
Yes.
Cool. Michael's son, right? He is a commentary on every gamer.
Yep.
Yeah.
And people still don't get that. They still don't get that this person is basically making fun of millennials.
Right. But they'll sit there and be like, oh, you're so annoying. It's
Yeah.
like,
His kids are
that's
both
you.
like that.
Yeah.
Both his kids are like that.
But like the
Just
son
two opposite
is
spectrums
making
of it.
fun of the audience. Like the people that are playing that game, that son is insulting them.
Yeah, 100%.
No one gets that.
And that's like I said, that commentary of the bad guys from Borderlands 3 are doing the exact same thing. And there is 200 streamers and YouTubers sitting in this audience going, I love them so much. It's like... You're being made fun of to your face, and you just don't even fucking get it.
And they immediately get on and start streaming after the presentation.
Yeah, exactly.
They literally were streaming from the fucking show floor where they just got made fun of.
They're ordering their cosplay outfits.
Yeah, 100%
during the presentation.
And that's literally one of the reasons I love Borderlands is because they can do that, and I don't I don't want to call them the lesser intelligent people, but the people who just aren't looking just never even see it.
Yeah, I saw someone had uploaded their Twitch stream after they had finished streaming from there. Literally, the video ends with the guy going, like, share, subscribe.
Yep.
And it's like,
asshat.
Oh, the irony.
Yeah,
Yes,
100%. Life
imitate
100% imitates art.
all right.
September can't come soon enough. I'm very excited. Because that's a game that I know the four of you will play, which means I will have somebody to play video games with again.
I'm still planning on playing Division 2.
Hooray.
Just putting it out there. It's going to happen. It'll probably just be in the summer. Do you guys have any final thoughts?
Play Fallout. It's a fun game.
You having fun with that still?
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
that's right.
100%,
Video games. Playing
100%.
video
Oh,
games.
man. I don't want to talk about it now because we need to wrap up.
late.
But, man, this is not an exaggeration, Trey.
Uh-huh.
I would rank Fallout 76's story as my second favorite Fallout story, behind New Vegas.
Why don't
There's
you
a story?
spoil it and tell us why?
Well, no, because it's long. I don't want to prolong the podcast.
We got 7 minutes. You think you can do it in 7 minutes?
No,
Well,
I don't.
Let's do it. I want to hear. I want to hear why you think it's the best.
Whitney has food for me, and I need to eat before D&D. Damn it!
Well, Kat's not going to be here till 7:30. Tell me why it's your favorite Fallout story.
It's second favorite Fallout story behind New Vegas.
I'm sorry. I meant second.
Okay, so the story of Fallout 76 is 100% told through holotapes and terminals and notes that you find and all these other things. So it's super fucking easy to miss. We're talking like Dark Souls from Software, easy to miss, especially if you're just out there exploring and killing shit. But so the gist of the whole thing is that The bombs caused a plague, a virus, called then that the survivors were calling the Scorched, which is the main enemy in the game. It's like
they replaced basically all humanoid.
Yeah,
enemies.
basically. So like the enemies in game are called Scorched. And as you're playing through the game, you notice like it's mainly like human enemies shooting guns at you, but they're scorched. They have these weird kind of like yellowish green rocks growing out of their skin. And you go through the entire game. That's your main fight. And later on, you end up finding Scorch Beasts, which are these giant fucking bats that have the same plague. And you don't really think too much about it until you start doing the main quest, the Enclave quests, and the Brotherhood quests. Because when you first start the game, you end up joining the thing called the Responders, right? And it's this automated system for any survivors. It's one cool thing that they did is all the people that didn't survive the war or survived it but somehow were affected by the plague, they've set up these automated, hey, you need to keep going from what we did, right? We started this, you need to keep going. And that's how most of these terminals work in the game. So you join the first responders, you end up becoming part of the fire breathers, and you start learning that there's this thing called ultrasight. That the bombs falling created this ultrasight. And it's a new mineral that has been created through the radiation in the bombs and stuff like that. And people think that is what's causing the plague. And so you dig deeper. You start doing the Brotherhood quest next. Not next, but this would be in order. You find out that the Brotherhood shows up, but it's not the Brotherhood. They make it work really well. I applaud Bethesda because the Brotherhood was started in 2099 or something like that. Not in Appalachia.
Brotherhood of Iron.
Yeah, the Brotherhood of so like you have the idea of the Brotherhood starting. So like Elder Maxon is sending correspondence to his main supporter and a girl named Taggarty. And so you see the idea of the Brotherhood start to spawn from Appalachia, which is really cool. But the Brotherhood figures it out as well. They figured it out, hey, ultrasight is what caused this. We narrow down where ultrasight is. It ends up down in the bottom. It's almost like the glowing sea in the bottom right-hand corner of the map.
Area.
Yeah. There's something called the glassed caverns, and it's the point of impact for one of the nukes. And it created this mineral called ultrasight, which started a virus called that people were calling the Scorch. And the Brotherhood figured out this is where it's originating at.
It's like ground zero.
Yeah. So the Brotherhood goes and it's like, we have to save these people. So the Brotherhood go into the glass caverns and they're just wiped out completely. The Brotherhood at any point is just wiped out completely. But they leave these clues for anybody to find to finish what they started, and you end up going through this whole thing. And their final solution is the only way to stop this is to nuke. You have to nuke the glass caverns again.
Oh, so that's why the nuking is happening.
That's why the nuking's happening all over the map in the games. The Brotherhood's like, you have to nuke the glass caverns. This is the only way to stop the Scorched. It doesn't, right? Because it's an online game.
Video game
you have to keep doing the same thing.
Over.
Right, but like if this was a canonical thing, the Brotherhood figures out the ultrasight's the cause. We've actually learned how to weaponize ultrasight. So you have ultrasight laser pistols, ultrasight power armor. It's all really cool. And they figure out you have to nuke this. However, we can't nuke, right? We don't know how. We can't activate the silos. We don't have access to them. You have to figure it out. However, we've learned that Senator Blackwell of the United States Congress was in Appalachia when the bombs fell, leading into the Enclave. Senator Blackwell was the one who started the Enclave, and you actually lead into the Enclave quest where you actually foe join the Enclave. And that's how you get nuclear codes, is through the Enclave quests. So the whole main story ends up you as a player, which is canonical, right? Let's say you're the sole survivor. You as a sole survivor have to nuke where the Brotherhood found the glass caverns were. And it's just really fucking cool, man.
But when you join the Enclave, there's no NPCs.
Yeah, no, you don't really join the Enclave. It's all NPCs that die. So the plague, you see dead bodies everywhere. The plague is killing these people, and it's also creating Scorched. So that's all these NPCs that survived the war were killed in Appalachia because of the Scorched.
That's just because all this sounds really fucking
sure.
cool.
I agree.
All of it sounds
I
so
know what
cool.
you're about to say, and I 100%
But it's
fucking
like
agree with
the
you.
fact that you don't see the Brotherhood of Iron.
Brotherhood of Steel.
No, it's iron because
Oh,
they're not
sure,
steel
whatever.
yet.
Yeah, sure,
so
whatever.
they're the less superior metal.
Whatever. Copper. The Brotherhood
fact-
of Smelting.
Yeah, the Brotherhood of Copper. I like that.
There you go.
The fact that you don't see the
Brotherhood of
Enclave.
Aluminum.
The fact that all this shit happened and suddenly you're out of the vault and everyone's dead. Like all that sounds so fucking
Yeah,
cool. It's just it also sounds like a missed opportunity.
That's
Sure.
true. I did like as you were telling us that story, I did totally forget that this is all just from, like you said, like
Then that's the thing. It's all for all these things. All these things you figure out. The fact that the Brotherhood, who are these people who are hoarding, starting to hoard scientific discoveries. Even they, with their unlimited resources, the last thing that's like, we have to nuke. That's the last thing anybody needs. We want to do, but we have to nuke this thing. It's the only way to stop the Scorched. It's really fucking cool. It's just I think it's the best. If it was just a single player Fallout game, this would be the best Fallout game in the world, hands down.
And that's the other thing about it too, is that I can think of so many ways that they could have sort of had NPCs in the game, but
Sure.
not had them in a traditional way, like
100%,
Fallout.
100%.
Like, you know,
I agree.
It does sound so cool. I mean, and also, but that's the kind of shit that you want to see, right? Like,
Oh, 100%.
This is the earliest game in the timeline.
I would have loved to have seen the Brotherhood storm the glass caverns and get wiped out, and you have to run and, try to. Yeah, I would have loved to see all of it. However, again, I want to wrap it. Like I said, well done, Bethesda, for still not taking no NPCs and making it work.
for making a great story.
Yeah, making it work, because
To their credit.
it is really fucking cool when you stumble upon a terminal and it all comes together. You know what I mean? Like, that's really fucking cool.
Well,
It's-
every Fallout game has that.
Sure, exactly. But it's just really cool, the idea that, these NPCs existed, they died, and they left their legacy for you to find. I really like that idea. However, I would love to have had just a single player Fallout 5 and just that'd be the story.
And I still I think it's fine as a multiplayer game. I think that's something that, like, obviously they're going to tell more stories after this.
Sure.
And I think that's something that they could still do. I think, like, especially if you're having it after all the, because the other thing is that you're not the only person in that world, right? The vault opened and everyone left the vault, and the other players running around are supposed to be vault dwellers that lived with you.
Right.
But the thing that they could do is, like, now that all these nukes are being launched, they could totally introduce, like, a settlement.
Yeah, 100%.
And have people in the settlement.
Yeah,
Have a couple
100%.
NPCs.
Well, and that's the thing is, like, there are no NPCs in this game, but Elder Maxon exists in this world somewhere, because you hear
Is it Maxon
Maxon. Yeah, Elder Maxon.
from Fallout 4?
Well, that's his son. We're talking about
grandson, right?
grandson. Yeah, we're
Yeah.
talking about the original Elder Maxon.
I didn't realize there was an original Elder Maxon.
Yeah. The original Elder Maxon is the one that started the Brotherhood of Steel.
Elder Maxon Jr.
Yeah, and so he exists in this world. So real people exist. It's just you don't see them in game. It's just it is. It's my second favorite Fallout story next to New Vegas. And I thought
New Vegas is your favorite?
Oh yeah. I love the idea of the courier and especially like. The DLC made New Vegas my favorite, especially when you run into Ulysses. The what do they call him? Not the Lone Wanderer. What do they call Ulysses? The Drifter, maybe that's what they called him. I don't remember any of that. But Ulysses was like, he was the first to you're basically following Ulysses' footsteps. Ulysses is his first of everything, and I just love it. I think it's really fucking cool. What do they call him? I forgot what they call him.
Wasn't he the first courier?
Yeah, he was the first courier.
Yeah, I can't remember what they call
everything you do in Fallout New Vegas, you're just
basically a step behind him.
Yeah, you're a step behind him, which is really fucking cool.
I think New Vegas is probably my favorite too, but it's just I love Washington D.C. as a setting.
See that,
like,
sure.
and also I think I love, like, when I think of Fallout 3. When I think of a Fallout game, I never really think of the main narrative all that much.
See, I think
New Vegas main narrative is probably the best. I think of the side stories. And
I'm
love a lot of
I'm
the side
talking
shit.
strictly from a narrative standpoint. Yeah, I 100% Fallout New Vegas is my favorite narrative, also my favorite Fallout game. But then from a narrative standpoint, it's 76. But probably the next best Fallout game is 3.
And also, I think it was weird too. Sorry, we didn't end this. I think it was weird too playing New Vegas because I grew up on the West Coast.
Sure.
So that environment felt so familiar to me. It just wasn't alien.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, like, I'd been to DC once as a kid. So
Yeah.
Fallout 3, when you're like walking around DC and doing stuff, it felt very different than what I was used to.
I think it's great, and there's super mutants in Appalachia, which there shouldn't be because the FEV virus was in Fallout 4 was the FEV. I'm sorry. In Fallout 3, the FEV virus was created in Washington D.C., not West Virginia. So why the hell are there super mutants in West Virginia?
Wasn't the FEV also in Fallout 2 or 1?
Yeah, it was one of those
on the West Coast.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You're right. It was West Coast.
Yeah.
So the FEV virus was created on a completely separate coast in West Virginia.
West Virginia.
Yeah. So why are super mutants in West Virginia? They do an okay job at explaining that, but I think they did a fairly good job with what they had.
Because we needed something besides the Scorched.
Yeah, basically.
All right. If you guys want to follow any of our stuff, if you want to follow us on Twitter or follow the podcast on its various forms of media, just check out our description below. There are links. You can click them, and you don't have to listen to me talk about them. Keep an eye out on your podcast feed. We should have an episode of Eat, Geek, Sleep, Repeat hit soon. We're just kind of working out some of the kinks with getting that up. But keep an eye out. You should see it in the near future. Thank you guys for listening. We'll see you next week.
Later.
Bye.